Ever wondered if a quick, 30-second balance test could actually hand us how long is? Or maybe to a truly stress-free retirement is just being able to buy everything twice over. Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that will stack, torso, do research, aim but our mission. Basically, to give you a shortcut to being genuinely well-informed, maybe with a few surprising facts and hopefully enough humor to keep you listening. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating mix of headlines and research, all sourced from the Consumers.App news aggregator. Specifically, we're looking at their Consumers 360 news commentary from June 19th, 2025. Think of it as a snapshot of what's shaping our world right now. And today's discussion is going to cover quite a spectrum. We're talking health insights, crucial financial wellness strategies, consumer trends, and even regulations that affect our daily choices. Get ready for some moments. Okay, let's just jump right in. The first headline really grabbed me. It's from The Sun. A 30-second test that could reveal a health red flag and predict how long you'll live. That sounds almost, too simple, doesn't it? Like my yoga class is suddenly a crystal ball.
Huh. Yeah, it does sound surprisingly simple, doesn't it? But what's genuinely fascinating here is the weight researchers are putting on these fundamental physical abilities. Balance, muscle strength, flexibility. They're not just about, hitting the gym hard. They're seen as critical indicators of what's called non-aerobic fitness. The basic idea is that keeping up good physical fitness, especially in these areas, ties strongly to better long-term health and, potentially a longer life.
Okay, so it's more than just being flexible. How does a balance test reveal a red flag?
Well, that simple balance test can quietly pick up on underlying issues, maybe neurological, maybe muscular problems that aren't causing obvious symptoms yet. You see, poor balance, particularly as we get older, dramatically increases the risk of falls. And falls can lead to serious injuries, impacting overall health and, frankly, mortality risk. Catching these subtle signs early, that allows for really crucial proactive steps.
So it's not just physical ability then. Is our brain function part of this too?
Oh, absolutely. Cognitive function is deeply linked with longevity. It directly affects independence, quality of life. Studies are showing that when you combine these cognitive assessments with physical fitness tests, you actually get a much stronger prediction of longevity. Physical and mental health, they're constantly influencing each other.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. But is there a risk here? Are we oversimplifying longevity if we just boil it down to a few tests? What are the big caveats? What do these tests not capture?
That's a really excellent point. And while these tests are incredibly useful, a balance test alone isn't the whole health picture, not by a long shot. The main challenge is making sure they're accurate and consistent across really diverse groups of people. Age, existing health conditions, lifestyle, these all play a role. So it needs to be just one piece of a much broader health evaluation. Think of it this way. Non-aerobic tests give insight into muscle and skeletal health. Aerobic tests are vital for heart health. You really need both for a holistic view of your overall health.
Got it. So if a test like this does flag something, what happens next? Is it just a warning sign or are there actual things you can do?
Oh, definitely interventions. If a balance test points to potential issues, the path forward often involves things like physical therapy, maybe strength training, specific balance exercises to improve stability, plus nutritional guidance, broader lifestyle changes like just increasing physical activity overall. These are highly recommended. So they're not just warnings. They're actionable ways to boost fitness, cut down risks, and ultimately, hopefully, contribute to a longer, healthier life.
It really makes you think differently about those small daily movements, doesn't it? What stands out to you, the listener, about how these seemingly simple physical checks can tell us so much about our long-term health? Okay, let's shift gears now. We're moving to something that, often feels like a huge puzzle we all need to solve, our financial health. And here's where it gets really interesting. Maybe hits close to home for a lot of us. A headline from Money Week on MSN.com states, "Why getting sick will cost you $500 a month in pension savings." Wow, that's a pretty stark warning.
It really is stark. And this headline, it zeroes right in on a critical challenge. The serious impact of declining healthy life expectancy on state pension systems. It's not just about living longer, but living longer well. When people live longer, but with more health issues, it creates huge financial strain. Think about it. Individuals might need pension support for more years, and they rack up higher healthcare costs. This can push pension funds towards, potential insolvency if serious reforms aren't made.
And this is tied into the whole population aging thing we hear about.
Directly tied, yes. As life expectancy goes up and birth rates often go down, public health systems face immense pressure. Older populations generally have more chronic diseases, which increases healthcare demands and costs. At the same time, you have fewer working people relative to retirees, and that strains the pension systems. It really highlights the urgent need for policies that integrate both health and financial planning.
So, what are the solutions being talked about for these pension shortfalls? It sounds like a looming crisis for quite a few countries.
Well, to tackle these shortfalls, several strategies are definitely being explored. One is promoting more risk sharing in what are called defined contribution or DC pension systems. That's where the investment risk lies more with the individual. There's also talk about investing in funding schemes alongside the traditional pay-as-you-go models. And then there's this concept of intergenerational risk sharing. It sounds complex, but the idea is that pension benefits could automatically adjust based on things like economic growth or life expectancy changes. The goal is to keep the system fair and stable across generations, rather than just burdening one group.
That makes sense. But what about that big shift we've seen, away from the old defined benefit plans towards these defined contribution plans? How does that specifically change things for retirees?
Right, that shift from defined benefit, or DB, plans, the ones that guaranteed a specific payout to DC plans, is fundamental. It basically transfers the investment risk from the employer straight to the employee. With DC plans, your retirement income depends almost entirely on how your investments perform. This means individuals now absolutely need sound decumulation strategies. That's just a fancy term for having a smart plan for how to spend down your savings so they actually last throughout your retirement. It makes financial literacy and really careful planning more crucial than ever before.
So given all these pressures, the DC shift, the potential shortfalls, how can individuals like you and me actually prepare financially?
The best approach is really being proactive and diversified. Individuals can prepare by spreading their retirement savings across different types of accounts, maybe investing in private pension plans if available, and crucially, maintaining a healthy lifestyle. That can genuinely reduce future healthcare costs, easing the financial burden later on. Financial literacy and planning are just paramount. They empower you to understand your investment options, manage risks. Things like using tax-advantaged accounts and maybe getting professional financial advice can really optimize retirement savings and boost long-term security.
Okay, and building right on that point about smart financial planning, here's another key question. This one's from Kiplinger. The $1 million retirement question. Are you being tax smart about your pension? This really shifts the focus from just saving money to saving it, wisely from a tax perspective.
Exactly. Being tax smart is absolutely critical for maximizing retirement income. If you look at Canada, for example, understanding how government pensions like the CPP and old age security interact with private savings, like RRSPs, which offer tax-deferred growth that's vital for planning effectively.
Are there other examples, maybe internationally?
Sure. Australia has its superannuation system, which encourages self-funded retirement, partly through favorable tax treatment on employer contributions. And interestingly, there's some recent research from Japan. They use a sophisticated model. It's called fast causal inference. Basically helps pinpoint real cause and effect, and found something intriguing. While financial literacy is important, it doesn't always directly lead to people actively planning for retirement. This suggests just giving people information might not be enough. We might need other ways to encourage households to actually do the planning.
So it's not just about knowing, it's about the doing. How does personal risk tolerance fit into these tax-smart strategies, especially when we think about spending down savings?
Oh, it's huge. When it comes to drawing down retirement savings, that decumulation phase we talked about, research shows that a retiree's appetite for risk, both liquidity risk and investment risk, significantly shapes the best approach. You really need personalized plans that match individual risk comfort levels. Ultimately, tax-smart strategies like figuring out sustainable withdrawal rates and using those tax-advantaged accounts effectively can massively reduce the chances of outliving your money. The real benefit of combining good financial literacy with tax-smart pension strategies is clear. It empowers retirees, empowers them to make informed choices about their savings and withdrawals, optimizing their income for long-term stability.
Okay, let's move from our long-term finances to our maybe day-to-day spending habits. This next headline really caught my eye. Money Control reported on a financial advisor's pretty bold strategy. Don't buy it unless you can afford it twice. Oof, that's a challenging rule to live by.
Yep.
I might have to apply that to my gourmet coffee habit. I guess I'll be drinking half as much.
It is a bold rule, isn't it? And it really taps into this broader movement around how we consume. You hear terms like ethical consumerism or conscious consumerism. It's basically a form of consumer activism. You're consciously, voting with your dollars, choosing products that support ethical practices, maybe local businesses, or environmental protection. The term itself got popularized way back in 1989 by a UK magazine called Ethical Consumer. They famously started creating these ratings tables to score companies on ethical and environmental grounds.
Ah, that's fascinating history. But beyond just being disciplined with money, what's going on in our brains when we apply a rule like that? Like forcing ourselves to pause and think.
Yeah, and digging deeper into why a rule like that might work. There's some really interesting new science about the brain's conscious and unconscious states. Studies are showing that even when we're not fully aware of something, when a stimulus is subliminal, a core part of our conscious brain network is actually still active. This kind of suggests our unconscious mind might be influencing our decisions way more than we realize. So that conscious pause, that "can I afford it twice" moment, it forces us to engage those deeper processing systems, not just react impulsively.
Wow, okay. So our unconscious is pulling strings there.
It seems like it plays a bigger role than we thought.
Yeah.
And it's not just what's in our heads either. Our bodies get involved too. Interestingly, research actually links leisure time physical activities directly to more sustainable consumer habits. One study found that engaging in sports and leisure seems to boost environmental awareness. It fosters a more sustainable, conscious approach to buying things.
Wait, so my weekend hike could actually make me a more ethical consumer. That's a really unexpected link. Does this all tie back somehow to that broader idea of the financialization of society?
Precisely, yeah, the financialization of society, this increasing focus on financial metrics in all aspects of life, especially highlighted during big events like the pandemic, has really heightened awareness of personal health and well-being. This shift has, in a way, transformed citizens into customers, emphasizing this new kind of consciousness that tries to balance economic activities with health priorities. It's all about becoming more intentional, more conscious in all our choices.
That's a powerful thought, from citizens to customers, balancing economics and health. Okay, switching gears now. Let's talk about something that directly affects our daily choices, specifically what we eat. Gulf News on MSN.com reports Saudi Arabia to enforce new food labeling rules from July 1. This sounds like a pretty significant regulatory change over there.
It is indeed. Starting July 1st, 2025, Saudi Arabia is set to require all food establishments, restaurants, cafes, even food delivery platforms to display comprehensive nutritional details right on their menus. It's a very clear effort to boost transparency and empower consumers to make more informed decisions about what they're eating.
Right. And what kind of impact are they hoping these new regulations will have on consumer choices, on public health?
Well, the main goal is to give consumers detailed nutritional info right at the point of choice. The hope is this leads to greater awareness of things like calorie intake, sugar, fat, sodium content, and so on, which in turn has the real potential to help reduce the prevalence of diet-related health problems in the population. It's basically about putting the data directly into the hands of the person ordering the food.
Sounds great on paper, but I can imagine there must be some practical challenges with rolling something like this out so widely.
Oh, absolutely. There are definitely challenges. One is just ensuring the accuracy and consistency of that nutritional information across a huge variety of food places, from big chains to small cafes. Then there's the crucial task of educating both consumers and business owners on how to actually interpret and use this information effectively. It's no good having the data if people don't understand it. And yeah, for smaller businesses especially, there could be logistical hurdles, financial costs and updating menus, getting the analyses done, research on how people perceive nutrition labels, for instance. It often highlights the need for labels to be really clear, transparent, maybe even framed positively to encourage healthier choices without just causing confusion or anxiety.
How does Saudi Arabia's initiative stack up against similar efforts we've seen elsewhere, like maybe in the UK or Australia?
It's quite similar in its aims to initiatives in places like the UK and Australia, yeah. They've also moved towards mandatory nutritional labeling to try and enhance consumer awareness and promote healthier eating. But the effectiveness of any of these initiatives really hinges on how clear the labels are and how well the public understands and can practically use the information that's provided. Clarity is key.
And what about the businesses themselves? The economic impact on Saudi Arabian food businesses, is this likely to be mostly a burden, or could there be benefits too?
It's probably a mix. There will definitely be initial compliance costs for businesses updating menus, ensuring the data is accurate. That's unavoidable. But there are potential long-term benefits too. Things like increased consumer trust, maybe even higher sales for businesses that proactively market healthier options. And the initiative could also stimulate growth in the broader health and wellness sector within the country. So short-term costs, potentially long-term gains.
Wow. So, from predicting longevity with a simple 30-second test to trying to secure our financial futures in this world of shifting pension landscapes and making truly informed choices about what we buy, what we eat, it really seems clear that awareness and understanding are just absolutely key.
Yeah, and if we kind of connect the dots here, all these seemingly separate headlines, they really highlight what feels like a unified trend, this growing global consciousness around personal well-being, financial resilience, and more sustainable living. It's all about empowering individuals, giving us the tools and information to navigate an increasingly complex world a bit better.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the latest insights from Consumers.App's Consumers 360. As we all consider these insights, maybe the biggest question for you, the listener, is this. How can you integrate this new knowledge into your own life? Not just to maybe live longer, but to live better and more consciously. If you found this deep dive valuable, we'd really appreciate it if you'd like, share, and subscribe to Consumers 360 for more insightful commentary like this.